Hi everyone, meteorologist Gary Dean here. I was just smiling. I had a note here, and I'll get to that in just a moment. Boy, you see the strangest things on YouTube, don't you? Last night, or it was the night before last, I guess it was, I posted a short video about a storm that was developing across the southern part of the Rockies, moved into the southern plains. Now I sound like I'm doing the weather again. But anyway, I guess I am. That storm then moved up the East Coast, and it's doing that as we speak. And this really wasn't supposed to be a weather video. I wanted to answer one little email that I got. But that storm is now moving up the East Coast inland a little bit, and giving them some pretty good rains. And in the higher elevations, you guessed it, it is snowing. Not a lot of cold air to work with down in the populated areas, so we're not seeing a great deal of snow at the lower elevations with this particular storm. Over our area, it seems like every time I do these, I have to do a little weather. Over our area here in the Midwest, in the Wabash River Valley, the Ohio and White River valleys of Indiana, Illinois, and Kentucky, we are looking at a Thanksgiving that's going to be cold. It's going to be windy. A Black Friday that's going to be slightly better, a little bit improved, a little bit. Then a Saturday and Sunday that are better. Monday and Tuesday rain moves in and warmer conditions. Then next week we're going to see some cold air back, and we'll be talking about another storm here coming up in probably about 8 or 10 days from now, the way it looks. Night before last, when I put the video together to talk about the storm, I simply made a reference to some of the things that I expect we'll be following and we'll be talking about. I had made videos before about different subjects, but I pulled them because they just looked dated, and they didn't look really up to date. So these I'm really testing on right now. I don't have my microphone in yet that I ordered, so we're just using what we have. But anyway, my opinion will be unchanged when we get the new microphone and a little better audio. Also, I've moved to a different room for the time being, and we'll work with the equipment that we have, because, as I said, equipment has nothing to do with the opinion. Anyway, night before last, when I made the comments, I had a couple of comments saying we'd cover other things, and one of the things that I mentioned was some of the people are saying that we didn't go to the moon. Apollo was faked. And I have been a scientist with my degree and etc. in meteorology, also most recently in quantum physics. I'm a perpetual student. I'm always taking classes, and probably always will. Have not been able to master, though, quantum physics yet, but I'm working on it. I'm a Newtonian physicist in my heart of hearts. Anyway, people said we didn't go to the moon are just simply idiots. That's it. I could stop right here and we'd be fine and finished. But they're blatant idiots. I don't know the age group. Apparently it's a little younger group. I don't think we have a lot of older people. But I remember Apollo. I remember Gemini, and I remember the Mercury program. The Mercury program took us up to Gemini, which was the two craft which practiced the docking maneuvers that they have to use on the moon, and then finally with the orbit of the moon by Apollo 8, and then the go for the landing on the moon with Apollo 11. And as I said, I don't have to go any farther because it's known history. It's like saying, I feel like asking these people a couple of questions, though. One, is the earth round? I'm not being a smartass. I mean, there is a society that is the Flat Earth Society. Do you believe there are satellites, those are artificial moons, orbiting the earth? Do you believe that? 2, do you think we've ever orbited the moon? 3, you obviously don't think we landed on the moon. And since I have your attention, you're an idiot. And how about Mars? This is a good one. Have we landed any robotic probes on Mars? Or is all that fake too? If someone that's a moon fanatic will put that on there, or Apollo fanatic would answer that, I'd like to know, because I cannot for the life of me get into a mindset that says, oh, we didn't go to the moon, that was all faked in the desert of New Mexico or Arizona or California. Bullshit to that. The technology in the 60s probably wasn't capable of faking that good of a landing. So we had the land. That would have been easier to make the landing than it would to be the faked. And I don't know where you come from. There is no proof. I don't have to give you any proof we landed, because we did land. I've heard things about the flag. Well, idiots, if you had been there, you would have had this stuff explained to you. The flag was on a solid piece of metal or spring type thing that would hold it out, and then it would flap. There were weights in the bottom of it. It was totally explained, and if you'll go to the Science Museum, you can see a copy of that flag and how it reacts. And of course, it holds it out, and it was not waving in the wind. It had a weight in the bottom of it, a weighted piece of metal, so when you hold it with gravity, it's going to swing like it's in the wind, because it was supposed to duplicate what it would look like in the wind, and apparently they duplicated it too good for some of you, because you think that it's a fake. Well, of course it's a fake. There was no air on the moon, so they had to make it look like it was going to be waving in the wind. Oh, God. I don't know. That was that was the note I got. I didn't expect anything, because I just mentioned it in passing that we would discuss it. So we might as well discuss at least the preliminary one about the moon. I don't know what you think you're seeing. I've heard people say, well, I don't see any stars. Well, of course you don't see any stars. It's daytime on the moon. You tell me how many stars you see tomorrow when it's daytime. They landed in the daytime on the moon. So the black sky is going to stay black because of the reflection from the planet. It's like it's day here, you know, when it's day, the sun comes up and the stars go out. Well, the same thing happens on the moon. What else have I heard? Have I seen? I rarely look at these in their entirety because they are so absurd. There was a good show on TV. It was about the two guys that prove things and etc. They've already gone through all of these little tidbits and all this bullshit that you guys are putting out. I don't know where you get this information. You must be too young to know, or too... I don't think they're too old to know, because that would put you ancient. But you must really be too young, and you've heard all this crap from people saying that we didn't land there. We landed there. Apollo 11, 12, 13 had the accident en route. Apollo 14, 15, 16, and 17. They all went to the moon. 2 men went to the surface. 1 stayed in the mothership. Pretty simple. Pretty simple. Complicated in that time, but something we could certainly do again. It's going to take some doing, though, and a lot of money. And we can't seem to get the Congress to release any money so we can go back, start mining. We've found water, apparently, in the craters in the South Pole. So the thing to do is to land on the South Pole, right on the terminator. The terminator is the line where it becomes dark side of the moon, the light side of the moon, where it's just right. We can go in there and use the ice for rocket fuel, for drinking water, and for other things, sanitation. And then we would be within a short driving distance to the dark side of the moon, where the telescopes could be set up, because they would have a complete blackened sky because they're in the night side of the moon. And as I said, the camp would be right there on the terminator, where it is about dusk, as it is dusk here on Earth. And when we are just leaving daytime, daytime when you don't see stars. Let's see, flags, stars, hills. There are some other things, but they're idiotic. I want you to go ahead and leave me some information about why you think we did not go to the moon. Because quite honestly, other than being stupid, and I'm serious here, because it takes a lot of stupidity to believe this. And are some of you to the point where you don't believe we have rovers on Mars? We didn't go to the moon? The Earth is flat? I want to know what your background is, how the education system failed you. Because I do not understand that much stupidity. I just don't understand it. I don't have another word for it. There's nothing that is the correct way of saying it. Uneducated. I presume the majority of you are white men who are fat and maybe live in trailers and married your cousin. That's basically what I have right now, what I'm thinking that we're going to find. But anyway, we'll see. The 1960s, 1970s, full of moon landings. Hopefully in the 2020s, we will return to the moon. I don't know what else to cover with you. Pretty much I've covered everything. I don't want any of these things back that say we just didn't go. I want numerical numbers. I want to know why you think what you think. It just seems incredible. You know, what bugs me is what I mentioned just a couple of minutes ago. Has the nation's education system really failed us that badly? I mean, is it possible? Apparently it is, to be educated in the United States and fail to know that we landed on the moon and explored it. And experiments still go on daily, where we fire lasers at the moon and measure its distance. There are other experiments. We listen for moonquakes. Well, a lot of things go on. But my wonder is, did the education system fail? Or were you educated prior to the moon landing? I want to know the background, the mechanics of how you could grow up thinking something that stupid. I guess it's kind of like racism. It's inbred into you. Maybe. I don't know. It just leaves me totally perplexed that I've seen these videos on YouTube and I've heard it in public. Man, just don't believe it. Anyway, that's what tonight's tape's about. You can leave me a message. We'll take a look at them and see what we get, and I'll be back with you. Next, we'll probably talk about the storm that's going to be here in about 10 days. After that, we're going to be talking about God, or the lack thereof. And we'll be talking about such things, everything controversial. If it's controversial, we'll find some way to talk about it and give some opinions. That's it. Good night. Have a great evening. We'll talk soon.